Who's your doctor?
Lang is her doctor. Y'all treat all your patients like this or just the black ones?
There was a personality patient for you. Alright, last name is Jones. She's G3P2. I'm not sure when her due date is.
Her due date
I
is
just
the
said
10th.
it was the 10th.
I think her due date's the 10th.
She have 3 pregnancies, 2 babies at home. I bet y'all listen next time. When you found out you was delivering at this hospital, your ass should have changed doctors. Everybody say how they treat people here.
A mother and father are demanding policy changes at a Northwest Indiana hospital. They claim they were turned away from that hospital and forced to deliver their own baby on the side of the road. Arnold Brennan covering this story for us, and you spoke to the couple this morning. What did they tell you?
Well, so they've hired an attorney, and that's where they spoke to us from, the attorney's office this morning. They told us they spent 6 hours at Franciscan Health in Crown Point, and instead of being treated and greeted with empathy, they say they were ultimately sent out the door with a security escort.
A baby delivered in a car suggests a mother didn't make it to the hospital in time.
Being put out in active labor.
But Mercedes Wells made it to Franciscan Health in Crown Point, Indiana.
My daughter's being kicked out of this hospital.
She and her husband Leon say the hospital turned her away while she was in labor, forcing Leon to deliver their daughter in the front seat.
We walked out of the hospital at 6:20 in the morning, Sunday morning, and the baby came 8 minutes later.
Baby came out, and just didn't know what to do. I just prayed and asked God for guidance.
Now the couple has a new baby girl and a new attorney.
This is something that should have never, ever happened.
The Wells family says they called ahead to the ER, knowing baby Alina was coming 2 weeks early.
I was met with really stern faces, like no welcoming faces, as I usually would get when I go to, a hospital or a place of care.
Mercedes says a nurse who checked on her said she wasn't far enough along and seemed intent on sending her away.
I was in excruciating pain. She seen me in pain and agony, and I guess she still perceived me to not be in labor.
Her contractions were just a minute apart, but the mother of 4 says she was discharged on doctor's orders without ever seeing a doctor.
Accountability looks like making certain that the woman that made the decision to kick her out of this hospital doesn't work there anymore.
The couple claims it was discrimination.
I've seen how common it is in the black community, so I know that it happens often. I just never thought it would happen to me.
They want a sit-down meeting with hospital administrators to talk policy changes so no other mother in labor is turned away.
So in a statement, the president and CEO of Franciscan Health Crown Point says the videos that the Wells shared were, quote, deeply troubling, adding that they don't represent the healthcare system's values. And Marie, they've also launched their own investigation into what happened.
Curious to hear about the results of that and what happens next with this story. Thank you, Noel.
Cupid doesn't lie, but you wanna unless you give it a try, give it a try. But you wanna unless you give it a try. Hey, girl, if I tell you I need you, that doesn't mean that I don't care.
What a...
And if I tell
Oh
you
God, it's still going.
I
Okay. Yeah.
don't you think that I will never be there here? Cupid.
Is that a real song? Is that a Drake song?
One of my favorite songs of all time.
Your songs?
Nope.
Who sings them?
112.
Let's let them sing it.
I'm so freaking pissed right now. This is bullshit.
Firing is not enough.
Going back in the building, man. We got it.
I'm gonna wait right here with my boyfriend.
You go ahead and turn your phone off too, please.
I can record. I'm in a public place.
That's fine.
Yes, I'm here to call the anesthesiologist. Someone is going to take your labor and delivery. That's not what I asked. I did not know.
Hey guys, I'm here with Mom and baby Cash. They are doing well. He has a doctor's appointment tomorrow at the pediatric center. It's a lot of concerns. They're taking tests on him. He still have to go through several other tests down the line because he was born with his eyes open, and due to the stress and trauma that occurred in the triage area, the baby had a bowel movement in Mom, and the fluids was green, and like I said, he born with his eyes open. So they are, you know, taking all that in consideration as well. But he's eating well, sleeping well, looking good. Thank you again for your support and your concerns, and we will most definitely keep you updated.
Hello there, villagers. Welcome back to another video here in Stacy's Random POV. And today it's a heavy heart for me, especially since I'm just a couple of weeks postpartum. If you guys haven't known already, I had my fourth baby, my beautiful second baby boy that I and my husband are so excited to welcome in this world. And honestly, both of these particular cases broke my heart into a million pieces, to be exact. And I just want you guys to do a little more research. Don't take my word for it. But I believe that this woman in this particular video, the nurse, when the woman was screaming in excruciating pain, she was not fired. She was not fired at all. And it's unfortunate that we live in this country, in the world, where they're always saying that there's not enough babies, that the amount of babies being born, it's declining by the year. Well, this is why. This is why. And I can't wait to see what kind of conversation we are going to have about this. This is going to be kind of mixed because I combine it together with the Indiana's case on the other hospital that they discharged this woman, which is unbelievable and just disgusting overall. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe. Once you do, you automatically become a member of this village. Please turn the post notification on. So when you like the video, of course, you help us reach other people that like and enjoy to have this type of conversations. So please help me out. I am very happy to do this, what I do. I always bring you guys a lot of cases and different news. And I really enjoy the conversations that we have, especially in my shorts. So I'll see you guys on my next video. Later.
This nurse needs to be fired as well. Look how she's holding the baby up. She look all the way crazy. Like I said, they all need to be investigated.
Hey, bro, don't do that. Don't do that.
What exactly did you catch when you were watching that viral video of a woman 12 minutes out from giving birth dealing with this redheaded nurse? Did it remind you of your mother-in-law? Did it remind you about being a fancy black person, maybe shopping for something, having an accent in the wrong place? Do you think you can spot when someone checks their social status against yours? Let's process it and the feeling of powerlessness and anger that you had watching that video together. So at the now infamous Dallas Regional Medical Center, a young black woman has come in because she is about to give birth. She's actively in labor. The nurse knows this. The universal medical standard of care is that this woman would have been rushed to labor and delivery where she could be monitored. Whatever extra details that they needed to get could have been taken from the person who was accompanying her along the way. And this mother in particular had apparently already sent her information ahead. She had established care at this hospital. Here she is, wailing in pain, going nowhere as the nurse stalls. There was zero sense of urgency, and there was absolutely no patient assurance. The nurse keeps mother and baby in the intake room. Now, we could say nurses are used to pain. They've seen hundreds of births. They're not going to freak out, as one might say. But we're not talking about freaking out here. We're talking about someone who knows that the person in front of them has not lived through hundreds of births and who is in pain and in need of medical attention. The nurse is very aware that this woman is frightened and in pain and is about to do one of the hardest things any human being can ever do. And she shows, literally no exaggeration, you could go watch the video, zero empathy or concern or any reaction to the black lady's pain. And what this medical professional is aware of with every minute that she waits is that she's putting the mother and baby at risk of something being missed. She's keeping this woman from the chance to be monitored. She is slowing down and preventing the process for any pain relief or oversight to get in place. If there's an emergency happening, which she can't know in the intake room because, again, no one is monitoring her, these couple of seconds or minutes can be the difference between life or death for the mother and child. On top of the unnecessary delay, the lack of connection and concern being shown here is absolutely adding to the patient's stress, which is also stressing the baby that's about to be born. That stress on a person's nervous system has a weathering effect that can make them more likely to die. The family has reported back that the baby did have complications during and after the birth. The nurse failed to do her job, and she did it in the grand tradition of nurses using their position of power to status check people. This is one more link in the long chain of maternal health crises for Black and Indigenous women in America, not because of their class, not because of other comorbidities, not because of issues they've had with childbirth before, but because of medical negligence and racism. Lack of response is a form of weaponized negligence that looks at a Black woman and goes, she can take it, she's tough. We could also say we saw here malicious compliance, where somebody uses the cover of the process to delay having to service or care for you. They're policing you or punishing you for daring to even come here and ask for services and resources in the first place. People walk around with this idea of who they are and what their space looks like. And when you come into their space as a Black person or a fancy Black person or somebody who needs them to take care of them, there's a level of thinking that I'm too good to be taking care of this person. I am too good in this situation, this store, this shoe, this bag, whatever it is. It's too good for the people who are asking for these services. So I'm going to make it expensive for them to be here. So they use their jobs to covertly assert dominance. They argue, you can't buy this item at the listed price. You must be wrong. They move slowly and they intentionally do not give you the same customer service that they would give everybody else. Or in this case, bedside manner. Well, maybe people are having a bad day or they're bad at their job. Here's how most people operate in a society. They are walking around with an internal story of who they are and who other people are. They also have a social hierarchy in their mind. We humans rely on a lot of visual shorthand to fill in ideas about what we're seeing in front of us or who we're seeing in front of us. Our internal hierarchy, that is developed over time by our culture, the people who raised us, the social circles we're in, or the media we consume. History is not just about events that took place, but the cultural memory that developed around them, the meaning and significance we have given to the things that have happened, and the norms we have normalized. You can thank Harriet Washington and her brilliant team for coming up with a comprehensive medical history of America. It's called medical apartheid. It explains how a place like the Dallas Regional Medical Center can hire someone like that and think that they don't have a problem. What we learn is that the entire birth and foundation for medical gynecology in America is through and because of enslaved Black female bodies. So many of the quick advancements in gynecology happened because you didn't need to ask for consent on women that you purchased and enslaved. You don't have to waste money on anesthesia or finding new people to keep testing this on because you can just keep testing on the same people you own. It wasn't just Black women. It was a way to continue to make money off of enslaved people who could no longer be squeezed for profit. So if you had someone who'd been injured because of your abusive work tactics, you could sell them for experimentation. This was normal. This is just like a really cruel, bad chapter in a tiny section of American medical history. No, it was its foundation. And it wasn't 4 years before the Civil War and just a couple years after. It was multiple generations. To this day, there are people and families that are bearing the scars of recent decades of medical experimentation and unethical access to Black bodies. People that were tricked. White bodies and white mothers were considered in class as people who felt more pain and were much more delicate. To this day, there are young medical students right now running around with myths and assumptions and biases about Black skin thickness and pain reception. There are a lot of assumptions about what makes a Black person sick. And then we're also dealing with a situation where it's considered bad or woke to look at the interlocking factors that could affect why someone is in the situation that they're in, like ecological racism or pollution. The wider American culture at the time excused and hid this and currently continues to excuse and hide this. Why do you think certain things are getting defunded? This is why with the same money, same healthcare, same hospital, a Black woman could walk into the same situation as a white woman and be 3 times more likely to die giving birth. It's not about genetics, it's about negligence. This slow-moving, dismissive care is procedural violence. Additionally, because enslavement was the economic power engine that could make the American economy the superpower it was, it depended on producing more enslaved people, which meant taking away, and never giving, I should say, reproductive freedom to black women. To keep it profitable and to keep it cheap, you weren't necessarily worried about the maternal health conditions. You weren't necessarily looking over all of the labor and delivery. This is a huge part of why bodily autonomy is not the state's default position towards women or black women. It's simply not profitable. So you have this huge group of people that's stewing in old ideas and new recycled ones about how it's black and brown people who are lazy and taking their resources. It's immigrants who are the reason why there's a housing crisis. There's an infestation of certain kinds of people. Do you think that when those women walk in to give birth, that people are going to necessarily treat them with respect and dignity? Tough and aggressive people who have too many kids, they're not going to get top care. Racism, long after it's used to be a social technology that produces a certain caste system, it becomes an internal form of narcissism, a way to stroke your ego. This white nurse was not going to be seen rushing to take care of a black lady. Did that black baby matter with the way she was acting? No. Did that lady's pain matter? Also no. She used, as many people have, her standing to check the other person. It was cruel, it was deliberate, and it was calculated. We tend to think that racist action, sexist action, people who are not welcoming you into their family, that they will announce it, that they will put on a hood, that they will say, I am saying a racist or mean thing, or you are less than me. We tend to think that unless they fully admit right there that I am doing this because I'm racist, that maybe it isn't. But it's not politically or socially expedient to telegraph status in a way that you could get caught. Because the point of this kind of behavior is not to be heard saying it. It is to get a certain outcome, to make you feel a certain way. How do we push back? We articulate what is happening to us. Because like James Baldwin said, once we articulate the situation, we're no longer the victim, we're a threat to that system. We support each other with doulas, birth funds, and looking for ways to fund community scholarships. We do what this grandmother did, which is film and share the story. Nurses at the Dallas Regional Medical Center and beyond might continue to see black women as pests and problems. We know, like Lucy, Betsy, and Anakra, who are memorialized here, that black women's bodies were the sites of so many solutions. That this profession owes so much to the unimaginable horror and pain that those women endured. People who are watching their research be rolled back, people who have lost their mothers and their wives and their sisters and just human beings to this crisis, know that there's no real moving on from this. But there is moving forward with an awareness of what came before us. What increased digital power we now have to call this out and hold people accountable. The ways we can come together to spot and articulate this behavior in all the different ways it occurs and call it what it is. To the Dallas Regional Medical Center, you have a nurse that is too dangerous to be around black women. To the rest of us, get Harriet Washington's book and don't be afraid to stay woke. It could literally save your life.
My daughter's in active labor, and this is a Franciscan Crown Point being put out in active labor.
Okay. You want to make a quick call?
Seriously, what the fuck is going on? I literally just made a video yesterday talking about a young mother in Texas who was in excruciating pain but was ignored and neglected by her nurse. And then today I see this video.
So we gotta transfer her to a different hospital.
You cannot make this shit up. So this lady went to the hospital to have her baby, and they sent her on her way. They told her that even though her contractions are strong, that she's not progressing with her dilation. For that reason, they sent her on her way. Clearly, this lady is in labor. She's in pain. They are not addressing any of that. And 8 minutes later, after they left the hospital, the husband, untrained civilian, had to deliver his own child in a freaking truck after they just left the hospital on their way to a different hospital. These hospitals, why do they not take black pregnant women seriously? This right here is the reason why they have a higher mortality rate. Black pregnant women. What is going on? This needs to stop.
A mother says she gave birth to her baby in her car minutes after being turned away from a Northwest Indiana hospital.
Video shows her being wheeled out by hospital staff, and she's clearly in pain. Our SL Razai is live in Munster, where the woman and her baby are recovering right now. SL?
Yeah, Joe, Erica, the videos the family posted online have quickly gone viral. It shows them at another hospital about 30 minutes away from here in Crown Point. The family says 8 minutes after being turned away from there, their baby was born in their car. 911 dispatchers were on the phone with them and led them here to Community Hospital, where they say they were welcomed with open arms.
Is being kicked out of this hospital and she's in active labor.
This is video the family posted to Facebook showing Mercedes Wells being pushed down the hallway of a Crown Point hospital in a wheelchair. Her family says she was in active labor, but they say hospital staff told her because she was only dilated 3 centimeters, she would have to come back later. Her sister-in-law, Sharice Joy Thompson, says they were visiting family in Indiana, and the baby wasn't due for another couple of weeks.
I feel like my family's rights have been violated.
She says 8 minutes after being discharged from Franciscan Health in Crown Point, the baby was born in the car.
She said, I got to push. And so he was driving with one hand, ripped her pants off with the other hand, and looked down, and he said he could see the baby's head. And he was like, oh my God, here's the baby's head. He like grabbed a blanket, caught the baby, and then put the baby on my sister-in-law's chest, Mercedes' chest, and the umbilical, everything was still attached, and they kept on driving.
She says they're grateful for the staff at Community Hospital, where the family is now.
911 was able to call the hospital and give them notice that they were coming. And so there were 15 doctors and nurses outside waiting for them to arrive.
She called her brother a hero.
He was able to, be calm and deliver his baby in that kind of like pressure.
She shared how her sister-in-law is feeling right now.
So when I went to the hospital yesterday, when I opened up the door, Mercedes saw me, she just started crying because she feels violated. She feels unheard. She feels dismissed.
And right now, the family hopes hospital staff that turned Mercedes away are held responsible. For Franciscan Health in Crown Point says they've opened an internal investigation into the alleged incident. We know right now mom and baby are here, recovering and doing well. Live in Munster, Indiana, I'm SL Razai, CBS News Chicago.
Wow, that's great to hear. What a story that is.
Right.
And the dad, it looked like he just kept driving down the road, one-handed catch, and driving the other one.
Great under pressure.
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty traumatic.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Glad they're okay.
Thanks, Asal.
The things that I witnessed on this app are thoroughly mind-blowing. What I'm about to show you is probably one of the most inhumane, disturbing videos I have seen thus far.
My daughter's in active labor, and this is a Franciscan Crown Point being put out in active labor.
Are you kidding me right now? This hospital is called Franciscan Healthcare in Crown Point. They did not think that she was far enough along to admit her into the hospital. 8 minutes after she got into her car to drive somewhere else, her husband delivered the baby and then drove 30 minutes to another hospital to get care for her baby. Her mother recorded the entire incident and her being walked out in a wheelchair and brought into the parking lot. What the hell is going on in this world? I have yet to see a response from this hospital. If anybody knows anything further, please leave it in my comments. I am disgusted.
Oh, okay, just give me 1 second. Hi, L&D. I have a mama in labor. She's talking about rectal pressure. You don't have to sit if you don't want to. You can go ahead and stand and sway, whatever is the most comfortable for you. No, I have not done her intake yet. The situation we're in right now, we're having a baby. Totally understand that, but we need an OB down here. I do not think she's gonna make it to L&D. Okay, deep breath. And blow it away. Okay, while we're in between this contraction, all I need to know is your name so I don't have to call you mama. If you have like a folder with your information, insurance, and stuff like that, you can give that to me. If not, that's no big deal. We're just gonna breathe and move through this. How many kids do you have? Is this your first? Your third, okay. Congratulations. And when's your due date? Okay, today, awesome. Your baby is punctual. Well, listen, I know you probably already know this because you are a veteran mom, but that rectal pressure is baby's head moving down your pelvis. Have you noticed any fluid or blood? Try not to push. I know it's really hard with that. A fetal ejection reflex, I don't know. I'm not really qualified to handle this, but an OB is on their way. Who's your actual doctor? Okay, well, even if I'm not qualified, I'm really happy to be part of this big day for you. Literally anything other than what that bitch did.
I just saw another video of a black woman who was being wheeled out of the hospital while she was in active labor. She went on to give birth in her car 8 minutes later. This was at an Indiana hospital, and now the family is alleging negligence and racial bias, which it 100% is. Labor is painful, and whether you are making appropriate cervical change or not, if you are in pain at the end of your pregnancy, like that woman was, you get taken up into labor and delivery and you get your pain treated. The black maternal mortality rate in the United States is about 3 times higher than the white maternal mortality rate. We just had a case the other year of a black woman in Georgia who presented to the hospital in pain, was given no treatment, she was turned away, and then died. And her body was kept alive to gestate that pregnancy. These are more than just viral moments. These are the conditions that black women are giving birth in every single day in the United States. It is imperative, if you are a healthcare worker, that you are continuously working to recognize and address your implicit biases, because we all have them. And being colorblind doesn't help anyone, it just causes more harm.
A black woman was forced to leave the hospital while in active labor. She gave birth in the car 12 minutes after being forced to leave said hospital. I'm just gonna play the video because this is so outlandish.
My daughter's in active labor, and this is a Franciscan Crown Point being put out in active labor.
Within the past week, we have seen videos of 2 black women being denied care. And this is the reality of black women and maternal care in the United States. This is insanity. I've never been so disgusted in my life. Like, watching that video produced such a visceral reaction in me. I could not imagine being the woman giving birth there. There's nothing for me to say.
So here's another situation out of Franciscan Health Crown Point. Here's another black mother arrived in labor in clear distress. She's in a wheelchair, crying, breathing through contractions, and visibly in pain. And the video shows she's in active labor, but instead, again, of monitoring her, managing her pain, or reassessing her, staff discharged her. They told her she wasn't far enough along. 8 minutes after leaving the building, according to her husband and the video, she gave birth in the car. 8 minutes. That alone tells you she was not stable for discharge. Labor doesn't suddenly turn on in the parking lot. She was already in it when she was inside that hospital. Here's the clip.
My daughter's in active labor, and this is a Franciscan Crown Point being put out in active labor.
Regardless of cervical measurements, a patient in this level of pain should have been evaluated, monitored, and treated. Pain management is part of labor care. She received none. No comfort measures, no interventions, no support. The family is demanding accountability, as they should. The hospital released a statement confirming that staff members that were involved have been placed on administrative leave pending an investigation. But the broader issue is this: Black women in labor continue to be dismissed and minimized even when their symptoms are obvious and urgent. This is part of a larger pattern in maternal health outcomes across this country. This cannot be normalized. It can't be brushed aside as miscommunication. This is preventable harm, and until hospitals take this seriously and address the bias built into these decisions, stories like this will keep repeating.
We're not even a full week in from the disgrace in Texas, and now we have another video in Crown Point, Indiana. What I don't want to make a habit of doing on this page is to show another video of a Black woman being traumatized. This is not a Black trauma page, so I'm just going to give facts and information, the stuff that I was able to find thus far. So the hospital is Franciscan Health in Crown Point, Indiana. The mother's name is Mercedes Wells. She arrived at the hospital saying that she was in labor, ready to be admitted to give birth. They checked her. They saw that she was not dilated beyond 3 centimeters and said, you have to go back home. We don't admit anyone who is not at least 4 centimeters dilated. Well, here's the thing. As a doula and as somebody who supports a lot of hospital births, I have worked with enough medical professionals to understand that dilation is not the only metric to measure progress of labor. There are other ways. So clearly Mercedes received substandard care. Clearly. Unfortunately, once she was wheeled back to her husband's truck and they were riding to another hospital, she delivered her baby boy 8 minutes later on the side of the road. It is grotesque. It is unnecessary. So I have some numbers for you guys. First one is Indiana Department of Health Complaints. This is a number that you guys can leave voice messages. It's only available during Indiana business hours. Indiana is, I believe, Central Standard Time. I don't know if someone from Indiana, if you see this, please correct me if I'm wrong. And the Joint Commission Complaints line, I had this number in the previous video. This is a national governing board for hospitals and medical providers, and you can file a complaint there as well. The name of the hospital is Franciscan Health, in Crown Point, Indiana. To provide some additional color and background to the story, Indiana actually ranks 3rd worst in the nation in maternal mortality rate, and it also is amongst the highest ranking in infant mortality rate. So if you needed any more incentive to call and protect the community of Indiana, especially the birthing population, the Black birthing population, and the babies of Indiana, because we are pro-life, right? Make sure you call and file your complaint. Thanks.
Almost as if people didn't realize that the statistics that birth workers and birth justice workers have been talking about regarding our maternal health care system and its racial inequities, like those weren't real people. They weren't real stories. They weren't real humans experiencing this. And I'm really glad that it's getting the attention that it deserves, but this needed to change a really long time ago. And I'm fearful that once the headlines and the clickbait fades away, that these women are going to be turned back into numbers. Let's not turn these women back into numbers. They are humans. They deserve better. We need to be doing better. Just remember that.